Aehr Test Systems, the semiconductor company, is up nearly 20% today. What is happening? Well, let's find out in today's episode.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for their subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
All right, so for those that are not familiar with Aehr Test Systems, this is a company that deals with semiconductor manufacturing equipment. More specifically, they deal with equipment that's done for stress tests, which they call burn-in, which is pretty much to help find the reliability to see like the reliability of the chips being manufactured. So Aehr Test Systems just reported their preliminary results, and obviously investors are excited because the company did better than anticipated. And luckily, if you have been following this channel, you would have heard of Aehr Test Systems many times ago, and also this past weekend when I put this in my top 3 AI stocks for July. And I'm pretty excited because in the past 5 days, the stock is up nearly 40%. So if you do follow Aehr Test Systems, and if you follow the AI market, you might be wondering, Jose, how is Aehr Test Systems a company that deals with AI? Isn't this mainly in the EV market, which unfortunately is in a weak space right now? You might be, there's some truth to that, and I'll explain how they come into the AI market in a bit. But let's kind of talk about this price action right now. So Aehr Test Systems obviously up a nice amount. Like we see right now, 21%. The stock is very small, $432 million. And based on current information, it does seem like a huge amount of shares were shorted for Aehr Test Systems. So what could be happening right now is this huge bullish news of Aehr Test Systems could be creating a huge short squeeze, which we tend to see on companies that have highly shorted percentage of their shares and also who are usually trading at a very small market cap. And like we saw, percentage of share shortage were nearly 20% based on market beat. I'm not exactly sure when this was last recorded date was June 15th of 2024. So obviously about a month ago. So that is, in my opinion, why the stock is seeing a huge movement, and who knows, we can continue to probably see some crazy movements for Aehr Test Systems in the next few days. Overall, I am still bullish in this company, and I'll explain why. But first, let's look at those preliminary results. So the preliminary results came out on July 9th when the company mentions that they want to give us the results prior to an event or a CEO Investor Summit that is happening right on July 10th, which is today. So I wanted to see where I can listen to this call, but unfortunately this call is by invitation only and is available solely to accredited investors and publishing research analysts. Unfortunately, I am neither at the moment, but they do mention that the material that they are presenting will be available on the investors relations page within the next, hopefully, few hours or so. So for me to kind of think that they released this before that participation or that presentation, it tells me that Aehr Test Systems might give us some crazy information in the upcoming hours. Because overall, the stock did give us a nice guidance. They bumped up their revenue a little bit. Previously for the full year, they were expecting 65 million. Now they're expecting about 66.2. So about an extra million here, which is not a big deal, but it overall kind of helps with this bullish trend. And the company mentions that, hey, look, they continue to see weakness in their EV market as EV demand has kind of slowed down, but they are still hopeful that looking into 2025, they still anticipate silicon carbide, which is used in EV solutions, will continue to be a key contributor to revenue. So like I mentioned, I wanted to discuss a little bit of the reasons why I'm bullish in Aehr Test Systems. So Aehr Test Systems has gotten beaten down like no tomorrow. And right now, in my opinion, is sitting at very decent valuations, especially if you are bullish in the EV space. While right now, if you are in companies like Tesla, you know that there is a slowdown in EV purchasing. But I believe that slowdown is more cyclical than anything else. And if you are a semiconductor investor, you know that the best time to buy semiconductor companies are when they are in their downturn during a bad cycle. And that's what's happening here with Aehr Test System, where I believe in the upcoming years, we're going to see that growth in the EV vehicles. So Aehr Test System should benefit. Very similar to how like Nvidia and AMD were in a bearish cycle because of the semiconductor cycle there being on a downtrend a year or two ago. So this is like buying, not saying, but it's kind of that mentality of buying Nvidia at the bottom, in my opinion. But they mentioned that not only do they expect silicon carbide to be a huge contributor to revenue, but they're also expecting bookings and revenue across a much broader range of customer and markets. Before we go any further, we are now on the road to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Thank you all for the crazy support. So if you haven't and are enjoying the content, make sure to hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button. Finally, if you want to support the channel a little bit more, make sure to check out my special offer at fool.com/Jose. Now back to today's episode. And that's a good thing, right? Because you don't want to be too dependent in one industry. They are seeing traction in other industries, and that can be a huge boost in revenue, especially when I tell you what these industries are. So some of these new targeted markets are silicon photonics, integrated circuits, which are used for optical I/O communication between chipsets and processors. Have you guys heard of all these CPU and GPU combinations? The way they talk with each other is through photonics and I/O communication. So that alone is a huge market opportunity, in my opinion, as we're seeing so many companies do this kind of chiplet design. So that alone could be a huge market opportunity for them. The second thing is they are seeing opportunity in gallium nitride, which powers semiconductors that are used in data center and solar power conversion. Again, two big major growth opportunities right there. And finally, they are also in testing solutions and seeing a market of production test and burn-in of artificial intelligence processors. So AI chips are seeing a huge demand, and if they somehow can get their hands into that market, I believe Aehr Test System will be a huge winner. So obviously we won't know much until we kind of get those presentations, the presentation slide later today, and I'll probably be doing an episode tomorrow if you guys want me to. If not, I'll probably just do a quick landscape either on X or maybe in one of my newsletters later on. But Aehr Test System, like I mentioned, is expected to report earnings later next week on 16th of July. I will definitely be covering their earnings, maybe not a full episode, but within one of my daily Nvidia episodes, because maybe they might talk a little bit more about their AI solutions. So Aehr Test System, definitely pretty interesting. Obviously, right now with the huge run up, the stock can go any direction. In the long term, I think a market cap of 436 million is still very small, especially if they are really entering in that AI space. So I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Take care, have a good day, and see you all next time.